Hi, very welcome. Good evening. Well, we've just heard Trump's response to his implying his tariffs on multiple countries. And here's what I'm going to say about the UK. We charge 10% tariffs on their imports, and we have now been hit with a 10% tariff on our imports to America. And I want to ask the American people, do you think that's fair? At first glance, you might say, well, you charge us 10, we'll charge you 10. That's fair. But the difference is our GDP is 4 trillion compared to your 38 trillion. Do you get it? If you was in a relationship with a woman or a man that was earning, 28 trillion a year, and you're earning 4 trillion, and they're telling you we expect you to pay half the bills, would you consider that fair? And that's my point. I want to know why Canada weren't on that list. I'll probably be the first to mention that Canada is not on this list anywhere. So why not? And why hit the UK when we've got such a small GDP of 4 trillion and we're bankrupt at the moment, just like the Americans? Why hit the UK's car manufacturing with a 25% tariff? This is going to spark a trade war, without a doubt. And like I said in earlier on's video, you know what? You can expect more than actually 25% taxes to go up on you as an individual globally. I still think that this is a charade. This is organised by the global elites and the world leaders in order to get more out of the orange, more juice out of the orange, meaning me and you, the taxpayers. And I'm pissed about it. You know what? I don't know how much more they expect us to tolerate from their nonsense. They've hit the farmers in the UK, they've battered the pensioners, and they're attacking the disability people, and they've just clobbered everybody else. You know what I've noticed in the 30 years of me observing, and I'm no expert in politics or even economics, because my own economics are a total disaster, but I am happy where I am. I'm not doing the best. I'm certainly not doing the worst compared to other human beings in this world. But in my 30 years of observing politics, things have just got substantially, progressively wrong and worse. And this is a hurricane of that expression. I've got to say that. There is no... I know Americans won't have any sympathy at all for Chinese people, right? But you don't know what's happening in China right now. And I'm not no CP sympathiser, just like I'm not no Russian sympathiser. But what's happening in China right now is people are losing their jobs left, right and centre. You have to imagine a huge powerhouse of, an economy that is, desperate to work for the minimum buck in order to keep jobs going and their economy going. And that is absolutely collapsing right now. And with a 34% tariff placed on them, it will happen much faster. And what people don't realise is since January and, February's first announcement of these tariffs coming in, that extra bit that was in place on China then, and now, with the extra more bit put on them now, has meant that Chinese businesses are fleeing China and going to other third world countries like Malaysia, Vietnam, Pakistan and India. And you have to ask the question, you know what? I mean, now this has come round, as far as I'm concerned, looking at what Donald Trump's trying to do, bring jobs back to the United States, it's come back round in a full circle. Why the hell was Apple manufacturing in another country in the first place? It was to save money, make more profits for the shareholders. Now, like little grovelling rats, they come back to the United States, as well as other companies. So for those companies that are fleeing countries like China right now, remember this: your arse and the tail that is going to be curled up in your arse is going to go back to China eventually, because you realise that this is not a never-ending game. It has repercussions, and what Donald Trump is doing right now is trying to rectify that. And I give him credit for that. You know, good for you. But you know what? Are you really having consideration when you hit on countries like the United Kingdom and other European countries that have a lower GDP than you, and you expect them to pay half? Really? You've got, compared to the United Kingdom, you've got over 300 million citizens, compared to our 70 or thereabouts million. More than 4 times the amount of citizens in your country than us. Your GDP is considerably larger than ours. And you expect us, because we put 10% tariffs on you, when we're earning 4 trillion GDP, compared to your 28 trillion GDP, you put 10% back on us. And you're doing it with NATO as well. You're whinging that we're not putting enough in. But you know what? I don't think America sees, or any American citizen has got the grey matter to understand this. We just don't have the GDP the same as what the United States has. And if this was a relationship, yes, if you've got a bigger GDP, you've got a bigger income, then you should be, you should accept the fact that you have to pay a little bit more than what we do. Because for us to match your expenditure on these things would bankrupt us. What, you want us all to sit here with no food? Nothing? It's doable. We can't do it. You know what? I am looking differently from this point on now with America. They have elected someone who is erratic, to say the least. And I understand that America have got problems and, drastic things need to be done. But you are smashing the ties with your closest allies right now. If you want to go in on your own, then that's fine. Carry on with the way you're going. Have no pushbacks on this. But why weren't Canada on this list? Why was China on the top of the list? It's like I said in the earlier video. If you want to watch how things happen and get a little bit of a glimpse of what's coming, watch what happens in the big countries. What Donald Trump has just done, and I wouldn't be surprised if China want to go to war with America over this, all of a sudden, out of the blue, slapping massive tariffs on them. What they've done is pretty much cripple China financially, economically. Do you realise that? And Americans might be celebrating that very fact that they've done that. But what you have to realise is that these are human beings. Human beings that just like American human beings need a job, need a salary in order to put a roof over their head and have some meaningful sort of life. And I don't think that the general American public see that right now, because they are so angry about being revved up by such a crappy president and cabinet, that they are so hateful right now against the whole of the world, thinking that we've all been, dipping in their pockets. But I will tell you this, you got a 36 trillion deficit. It was your recent presidents that caused that deficit on your country. It was not the rest of the world. You know what Donald Trump's doing right now could have been done 20 years ago, 50 years ago, if that was the case. And you wanted to stay in the green, you could have. But you chose to vote in these corrupt political people. And if you think what this little sign here is saying about all this deficits is going to help you, think again, because they're going to be reciprocal tariffs put back on the American people. You are going to pay for the tariffs that you've put on our countries, and wrongfully so. You know what? I can't believe it, because up until I saw what Donald Trump has just done, I thought as American people as my brothers and sisters, just like Canadians, just like Australians and Europeans. But I can't believe it. What will happen now is that people are going to lose. You know what? It's a scam, guys. Do you understand that? A massive scam. Who are these tariffs affecting? If you've got any grey matter, you'll know who these tariffs are affecting. Not countries, not really manufacturers. It will to some degree, a little. But the biggest buck will stop with us on the ground. The average Joe, the nobody that just wants to, put a bit of food on his table, keep a roof over his head, and stay in a smallest form of comfort. Because we're not like these pigs at the trough, Elon Musk, and Keir Starmer and Trump. We're not like them, and JD Vance. My God, I've got to say something about that. Why has your vice president got eye makeup on? Slamming policies about wokeism, and there he is with eye makeup on in front of the whole world to see, and we all know it. He's got eyeliner on. What fucking man wears eyeliner? What man is confident in himself puts eyeliner on his face? That's the least thing in this video that really should be talked about, because it's pathetic. It really is. People are going to lose jobs in America. People are going to lose jobs in the rest of the world. And on top of that, we've got to face, extra taxes now, because the only people that have benefited from these tariffs and the reciprocal tariffs that will be put on America will be global governments. Do you understand that? And you know what is another thing as well? You know what, I said I was going to do the magnetic pole reversal update in a few days, but you know what, with the enthusiasm for people to support that, I don't even see why I should bother. In fact, I should go in there and knock the switches off on that equipment, because it's just wasting my electricity. Because people aren't interested in the fact that our planet is going through a magnetic reversal for the first time in 780,000 years. It means nothing to them. It means nothing to them about the consequences of the magnetosphere collapsing and extra radiation, and when to know what to do and how to do it. They're not interested. They're all tied up in mainstream media bullshit and pathetic tariffs that rip individual people off on the ground. And I've got nothing else to say other than, as always,